Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Big League Breakdowns. Today, we're just going to be talking some ball, okay? Going back to the basics, just kind of roundtabling, and whatever comes to our mind, we're going to talk about baseball related. All the boys are here once again. Bobby, our producer, once again with the messed up voice, but that's okay. He can still yell when he wants to.
The voice of
He,
God
he will. The
sounds like
voice of
God.
God. The voice
Sounds
of
like
God.
what?
Sounds like
Has God
Halo
ever talked to
announcer.
you? See, that's how
Yeah.
our conversation is starting. We're starting with God.
Yes. John, how do you feel about gut? No.
How do I feel? That's a loaded question, buddy.
John, how do you feel about your
Can you
guy,
talk to us
Corbin
about your Lord and
Corbin
Savior Jesus
Burns?
Christ?
My what?
A hot start to this episode. John, some of the biggest news that we haven't talked about
He's
since we
not my
last
guy
recorded.
anymore.
He's not your god anymore. Corbin Burns.
Guy.
No,
Guy.
no, no, God. Corbin Burns. He said, "Screw Baltimore. I want to go home to a much more beautiful, much more warm, much more nice place that he calls home."
You're just trying to push all the wrong
Yeah, I
buttons,
am
aren't
trying
you?
to push his buttons. John, you lost your ace and you traded for him, like, what ended up being some pretty good prospects, and now he's gone. How do you feel?
eh.
And you
Eh.
got Charlie Morton as your replacement.
How do
Okay,
you
well.
feel? Floors to you.
Mm, I'm upset.
It's a
Well,
I'm
no
sad,
duh, you're
disappointed.
upset.
it's sad Oriole noises over there.
I am disappointed. Chirp chirp.
I mean, do you think
Here's
the
the
Orioles
thing.
are going to try and do something else still pitching wise? And the rotation, I mean, I think the bullpen you could jump in still and grab people because there's a lot of guys hanging around.
I think they have to. We got so many injuries. Jesus. I'm sorry. We got so many
Are you okay?
we got so many injuries at this point with pitching, especially starting pitching, between losing John Means to, free agency and to Tommy John, losing Kyle Bradish to Tommy John,
Is
losing
he out the
the
whole
great
year?
I mean, it's
What
Tommy
about
John.
is
He'll be
Tyler
he'll be
Wells and Kyle Bradish out the whole year, or are they just partway through the season?
Well,
Well,
let's
he
put it this way. Wells went down in like May, so I would assume
And
he
was it full
could.
Tommy John?
Yeah, I think
All right,
so.
so what? That's 18 months. So maybe if there was a postseason run, I should
Yeah,
say when
maybe.
there's a postseason run.
Kyle Bradish, 100% done for the year. Like,
Okay.
so it sucks, And so I think we got to do something, but I'm also at the point where I'm like, you know,
this man's got
getting
to get
Felix
it together.
Bautista back,
I mean, yeah, you
and
haven't really addressed. I mean, I
yeah.
know you signed O'Neill, but the Orioles haven't really done squat to
Well, that
address their
I think
outfield
the
stuff.
I am curious as to what's going on with Santander
Oh, he's
because
he's going to be getting the highest offer at this point. Wait, Boris is
no,
okay. Then he's.
I don't think
I
so.
mean, he's literally the big guy left for the outfield market. So he's just gonna probably see how big of an offer he can get. Supposedly the Blue Jays offered him something, but I mean,
Of course
I
they
don't
did. But clearly,
I don't
nobody
think
wants to go to the
anyone
Blue
wants to
Jays.
go. Yeah, because no one knows what the Blue Jays future is the problem. You can see the Yankees doing whatever they've done
If
after
they
Soto. You
were
saw the Red Sox
smart,
doing their stuff.
if they
No one
were
knows what the Blue
smart,
Jays are doing.
they would honestly trade Vladimir Guerrero and it's Bo Bichette, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Who is it? Yeah, okay. I want to make
You've
sure I
been
had it
playing too
right.
much video game. You wanted to say Dante.
No. It wasn't that I wanted to say Dante Bichette. I wanted to say Kevin Kiermaier. So I was like, no, it's the other white.
Yeah, that kid. He retired. Okay. Okay.
Anyway,
The other white guy.
so in my opinion, you got to trade Vladdy, you got to trade Bo Bichette, you got to try and get something for them and try to rebuild this because otherwise you're just gonna be mediocre with 2 stars.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think the Blue Jays are kind of screwed up. No, Tyler doesn't get to talk anymore.
I,
He's
No, he's no longer the host. He's lost all
there
hosting
is no
duties.
host in this episode. Me and John are
We're
running
not
this.
having a host. All right,
I,
Tyler, you're on mute. So here's the thing: when it comes down to the Blue Jays, they are clearly grasping at straws. Will, what's your opinion?
The Blue, yeah, no, you're right. I mean, they basically are in denial. They screwed up having a good young core for what 5 years it took to build up or whatever, and then 3 or 4 of those years they made the playoffs and had early exits. They cannot accept the fact, and last year was the sign that they fucked up and just very strictly, you had it, you had every chance to improve on it, and you screwed it up. And now these guys are going, and so I don't know if I would have necessarily said they had to trade both right now. And the only reason is because Bobic had such a bad year last year that, I mean, he's still really talented. There's a ton of teams that still need middle infield help that would want him. But you could absolutely trade Vladdy right now and get some pieces back for him.
You would get a haul.
I know
You
Pete
would get
Alonso
an
is still out
absolute
there in free
haul.
agency, but you have the Mets that are looking for a first baseman. You have the Mariners that are looking for.
Here's the thing. If you're the
first
Blue
baseman.
Jays, what you need to do is trade Vladdy, get that haul, tank, get the first overall pick, or at least
there's
top
there's
three.
a lottery.
Hold on.
There's a lottery.
Or at least get top 3 in the lottery,
And get
so that you can get the best amount, so that you can get the best players that you can for these two guys. You know, I think at this point they're holding on to Vladdy because of the Guerrero name and the Canadian factor. That's it. I think that's the biggest reason why, to help their season tickets. They're Canada's team when it comes to baseball. So you got to look at it from a business side. So I understand that. But in order to better your baseball team, you have to do something. Stop being in denial.
Well,
Get out of Egypt.
The funny thing is, it's not like they don't have money because they offered on a couple of the big guys, right?
Yeah, but nobody wants to go there.
Because I'm trying to think, who are they? Well, I know they were heavily.
They've
in
been
on
on everyone basically, and I mean they're still on everyone.
the Burns trade they were in on.
Trade
signing.
Sorry, that they were in on. I'm trying to think. I thought there was somebody else because it's like
they've been on. No, but they truly have been on everyone. It's because they're just they want to dump money on someone and show that they're still very much in it with a little bit of the core that they have left. But I don't think anyone believes player-wise that the Blue Jays are 100% going to be a team beyond this year, even if they are this year. So the whole idea of trying to move to a different country and then joining an organization that is potentially going to be spending the next 3 to 5 years rebuilding, I don't think that's ideal for a lot of these players. I mean, some would probably take it and put a fake smile on their face and then hope that this year ends up being a good year for them and they can bring back at least one of those two guys. But no, the future of the Blue Jays is extremely bleak right now, especially with the way that that division is increasing load-wise with everyone else. And the Rays were a 500 team last year. Who knows what they're going to be this year? They could very well be a 100-win team. They're the Rays.
I mean, it's just weird.
They're still trying to figure out what to do after Wander Franco, let's be honest.
Yeah,
they're the Rays. I don't have to worry about what they're thinking. They're
going to bounce.
They're going to put something together. They get McClanahan back this year.
I think at one point, I think you said that with such a smile.
They also don't
He's
have
a good pitcher.
They don't have a stadium.
Yeah, but it's just the way you said it was just like they get McClanahan back this year.
Yeah, and then trade him to Philly. Nah, we don't actually need him.
You literally have all the starting pitchers. You don't need any more. Relax.
We have.
What are you going to do with the 7-day rotation?
7 day.
They're
7
very
man.
well rested in Philly.
Yeah, for when the postseason comes and nothing happens. But no.
Yeah, then you cut it from 7 to 3.
Yes.
I mean,
well,
the only thing that's
very
sad is
short
I feel
hooks.
like I'm sad though because it seems like the Rangers Suarez era is going to be finished after this year because they have Luzardo for an extra year. So Painter's going to probably be up in 2026 to start the year, regardless if he comes up at all in 2025. So I love Ranger Suarez. He's done great for us in the postseason. Sayonara. Have fun somewhere else.
Anywhere. I mean, he's going to be a hot commodity when he's on the market. So going back to Toronto real quick, like I know that Vladdy had decline an offer, I think during the season, which was they were trying to kind of lowball him. But like, I wonder if he actually wants to be there because again, based on like their activity, it sounds like they have the money to sign this guy. And Bo Bichette, look, I think he's somebody you can move on from. I don't think you can move on from Vladdy. Like, you got to get him locked up, man. He batted 323 last year, and he was arguably like one of the best first basemen in the league last year.
Well, that's where you
I
have
think
to
he
ask the question:
was the best.
does he want to be there?
Well, that's what I'm asking. And then I think
I
this
think he
opens up.
does to an extent.
So I think this opens up another thing because it kind of reminded me when you guys said like, do players, and this kind of ties in with Corbin Burns too. So Corbin Burns, I think a big part of why he wanted to go to Arizona was because that's where his family is,
Mhm.
and it was a big thing. And it's like, obviously, baseball players are people too. Like they are humans. They have these human needs.
What?
I know it's
Since
crazy.
when?
Even
They're
like
not just walking dollar
I
signs?
know Shohei looks like a robot and acts like a robot, but he is a human being
He
too.
looks like a giant dollar bill to me.
But
But
like,
he's wearing blue instead of green.
Listen, blue is green, man. Blue is
do
green.
Oh, God.
do players have a like teams like Toronto, right? You're going
What, loyalty?
no. I'm saying like you're going out of the country.
Homesick.
You have teams like, the Florida teams where taxes are the way they are. Like, I feel like a lot of these destinations, like the Rays, for example, are kind of like permanently screwed in a way. I mean, I know it's Florida, but like, I
They're
don't know.
screwed for a different reason.
I mean, yeah, but again, no stadium. But I don't know. It's
Do
like
they
weird.
know where they're playing?
Like
Yeah,
Arizona.
they're playing. Wait, did that get sorted out? The whole George Steinbrenner Field situation?
I
Did
actually
it?
have no idea.
Well, because they were going to. I have to look it up.
Are
because
those there?
I think it is. Well, they were going to play there. Then there was something I remember that was kind of made it seem like that was up in the air. But then I want to say that worked out, and they're going to be playing there. Steinbrenner Field is
in order to
Tampa.
play there, they have to trade McClanahan to the Yankees. That's the
It
penalty.
got Max Fried back off.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, Arizona. I mean, look, the Diamondbacks are they missed the playoffs by one game last year, but the year before they had gotten to
Because
the
their
World
bullpen was
Series,
trash.
and they are trying to shore
They
that
still
What
up.
are they
didn't
doing?
fix that issue.
Fixing the starting pitcher. The thing about bullpens right now is that there's a ton of bullpen guys still out there that are high leverage pitchers. So it's like no one's biting. They're basically going to force these guys to take 1-year contracts at the end of July or July. Holy crap! We said July earlier. Now threw me off.
Contract in July.
They're going to take 1-year contracts at the end of January, maybe beginning of February, right before pitchers and catchers report, and then face this all again next year. I mean, it's always been with bullpens that you can rebuild a bullpen year to year. Like it's not really. I feel like super common that you have a staple like entire 7-8 man bullpen that you stick with year after year. You always rotate some guys around, guys here for a year, guys here for 2 years, and then you completely change the look of it. So any guy like Hoffman, who technically is looking at being a starter too, or maybe looking for like a multi-year deal, they're probably going to be screwed and have to take the 1-year deal. And you'd be like, we're going to do this all again next year.
I guess
Yeah.
that's why you have bullpen guys like Mason Miller who want to become starters, so that way they can get these big contracts.
Yeah, it's the money.
I mean,
Plus, a lot of bullpen guys usually, or I shouldn't say a lot, but there's a good amount of bullpen arms that started out as starters, moved to the bullpen for one reason or another, and I feel like a lot of the time it's because they just weren't great as a starter, but they had good stuff, and so now that they've figured out their stuff in the bullpen, they want to push that back into the rotation, and then they can get the big bucks.
yeah, I think. I mean, I don't know, man. Bullpen arms are so inconsistent year to year that it's hard. You can feel like you addressed it in the off season, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. Like obviously you have your staple guys, but I don't know, man. Like I
I mean,
think
like Red Wing,
like Red
Craig
Wing,
Kimbrell.
yeah, like him, the guy that has tortured
This guy
fan
he's a
He pitched
placeholder
himself
till
out of a job.
Bautista comes back.
Yeah, Yeah,
You got literally what the Phillies got in 2023, like, but 10 times because he was a better pitcher through the first half for you guys than he was for the Phillies, but he was so much worse for you guys in the second half than he was for the Phillies. He literally
cost
pitched himself
the
out of a
job.
career. Out of a career, he's done. I think. That's
Is he
it.
done?
I think he's all what he's like 35, 36. I mean, he's up there, and he was already when the Phillies
crazy.
signed him in 2023. That was like a question mark type of thing. Like he'd already been kind of falling off. So he's 36. He's 36. He turns 37 in May. So
yeah,
I
but
mean,
he's a closer.
if a team's
like,
gonna take him, it's the White Sox.
yeah. I mean, he's a closer.
Like
though,
they
so
need
he
help
can-
losing
No,
more
he's not.
games.
He can play till he's 107. Like it's whatever.
Yeah, but he's
Just
not the like
throw up that
fireball
arm.
guy.
yeah.
He throw up those shoulders.
I think like so for the Diamondbacks' sake, right? Like, yes, that was a big problem last year, but like Arizona didn't really get a lot of hype because of the season they had this offseason, but
It's also
they-
Arizona.
yeah, but that's a great state to live in. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's
No, I understand it's a great state, but at the same time, you got to look at it.
Too
You got to look
hot.
at it like this: Arizona, it's a small market as opposed to like L.A. or San Francisco or Florida. Just like you got. I don't know. Anyway, point is, you look at if you really want if you really want big money, you don't really think Arizona. So I think this was the main factor was Corbin Burns just wanted to go home. End of story, cut and dry. That's it.
it
I
is
mean,
kind of
also
weird
they're
though.
like basically one big guy signed right now.
It is kind of weird though. Like he has opt outs after the second year, I think. So it's like he really wanted to go home, but I guess if it goes poorly, he's out of there. Like it's
I mean,
really
the
weird.
Diamondbacks are in a situation where, yeah, they missed the playoffs last year by one game, but like they had the best offense, arguably, in baseball. Their pitching was just that bad, and it cost them in the end. And there's
Oh.
no reason to think they can't do it again this year. Now, obviously, their offense is going to look slightly different because they have Josh Naylor instead of Christian Walker, and they haven't answered their DH situation yet. But I mean, they
Lazo.
absolutely are a little bit more. No, but yeah, no, yeah. Anthony Santander.
You'd have to put
no.
you'd have to put Naylor at DH if you did that for sure.
But you absolutely fortified the rotation at all. I mean, the rotation already looked good between Gallen, Kelly, and I'm still gonna say this. I know there's the talks about Montgomery getting traded, and he had such an awful year last year. I'm willing to say that he's gonna be the bounce back player of the year next year because he was in such a shit situation when the season started because he signed late, he rushed it, he had no spring training, rushed into it, and had the worst season of his career with a team that he had never been on. So I mean, there's so many factors that were playing. He was probably pissed too because of just the whole situation that
Boris
he had with free agency. Yeah, because Boris screwed him over. So I mean, he just had a lot going through his head in this offseason. He was just simply like, I'm staying because I sucked and I had an option. So, but at this point, I don't think there's any reason to think he won't bounce back. Now, is he going to have the same like low threes or whatever ERAs he had the last couple of years? I don't know. But if he can stay healthy and keep an ERA slightly under 4, then I think that's fine.
yeah.
Well, let's put it this way: we named him most overrated for a reason.
So here's the thing about it, which is weird because I do agree with you, Will. I think that he does have the chance to be like bounce back and actually pretty decent. The problem is, do the Diamondbacks want to try to offload that contract where they
It's a
can?
1-year deal.
I know, but I'm saying like if they wanted to make another move this offseason.
Take
Because-
the debt, make the playoffs. You'll
because,
survive
like,
after
Gonna-
1
there's
year.
no
look-
point. It's 1 year.
No, but I'm saying, look, they have Burns, they have as you said, Merrill, they have Gallant. Like you have good pitchers now. If you're still trying to fill that hole of like DH or somewhere in the field, I think if you try to get rid of him to free up that money to spend somewhere else, I think they'd probably do that. I just think it's a little bit risky because he could end up being good again.
I
Here's the
think
issue
the trade
with
is
that
going to be
series.
more.
I don't think they need him, to be honest.
Well, so they had a lot of injuries actually last year, starting wise too, because they lost pretty much everyone in the rotation, I feel like, except for maybe Fott for like a certain period of time. And one of the issues with that rotation last year was while they looked pretty good 1 through 4, they were really bad looking at 5. And suddenly all those number 5 pitchers that were in the competition for that role were now having to pitch more. And they sucked. So they're in a spot now where 1 through 5, like they have 6 pitchers right now. They look great. You're right. They don't probably need them, but I don't know what you can expect out of Eduardo Rodriguez right now after a whole year out. If he's healthy at the beginning of the season. So I think trading Montgomery is going to be kind of like the Philly situation with Bohm, in that if the opportune trade presents itself and Montgomery can be a centerpiece for it to help get this player, then I think they would do it. But I don't think it's going to happen because his value is tremendously down further than now it is too.
I don't think they're going to use him as a trade piece. I think they're just going to salary dump him, is what I'm saying. I know it's only
I don't think they should salary dump.
I know it's only a 1-year deal, but I'm saying, like, if you feel like there's a guy out there that you want, like, let's just say, I don't think they're going to get him, but Pete Alonso, like, you could use that money then to free up. And
if they're in that much financial situation that $28 million would screw them, then they have other issues to worry about.
Man, $28 million is a lot.
It is baseball. There's no salary cap. They can go get Pete Alonso and still keep Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah, but you just said they're a small market team.
But there's
but really $28 million?
I'm so pissed I can't find the document because there is a spreadsheet somewhere that was putting side by side each team's revenues for 2024 versus what they spent. And like every team in baseball made like almost close to 100 million, at least over whatever they spent, if not like 2 or 3, 5 times that. So a lot of it is just owners trying to keep money back. Now, some of it could be for competing down the road or other reasons that we don't know and I don't care. But for 1 year and a team that 2 years ago was the loser in the World Series and your National League champs, like, I think you absolutely do not salary dump this guy in that situation. Like, he could still very well be a huge piece. And if he turns out he sucks again, we've already clarified, you got like 6 or 7 starters, throw him in the bullpen if you can't trade him. He did some bullpen work this past year anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it hurts to keep him. I'm just saying if they felt that they were cash strapped, that's I guess who you would try to offload.
Not.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they.
All right, where are you, Fangraphs?
I just feel like, again, you teams kind of have to make sacrifices, and if
that's not one of them, million.
If they, I mean, look what they got from him last year though. Like, even from their sake, they have to be like, even if he does bounce back, like, that's a possibility, but also there's a possibility he doesn't. Maybe he's just not the right fit here, and it's like, I don't know, man.
I'm gonna bet that he doesn't do Taiwan Walker levels of bad next year.
Oh, I don't think anybody will do that. So it's not, but again, they have the depth there where I think it's a possibility. Should they do it? I don't know. But I will say, yeah, I want to see.
The only reason they would even consider it is to avoid the luxury tax, but even then, they would be their first year over it, so they would pay like maybe at most $2 million.
Yeah,
and it's probably going to be under $1 million. Like,
but that kind of goes to my. I mean, that kind of goes to my point, right? Like, okay, they maybe.
If they're going to be anal about the luxury tax, then sure, they'll dump him. Maybe if they.
I'm just saying, if they sign somebody else, yeah. If they don't
strike me as that close to, how do I put it? Too much that close of a stickler to the final dollar. Let's put it that way.
We don't know, I guess.
Like other franchises.
I mean, right now, based on Fangraphs projections for 2025, their luxury tax projection is $215 million. So there was that $25 million shy of the 240 first tier.
Yeah.
So their player projections are, of course, under that because there's other factors that go into what the tax number is. So if they haven't done anything really with the bullpen, which they haven't, then they can spend easily another. They can get like a big guy, maybe a small, like in the bullpen. I'm saying big guy,
Yeah.
and then maybe someone smaller off if they want, and still be under that luxury tax. Or they decide to be like, boom, Pete Alonso.
I want to. I mean, I wouldn't put it out of the question because you have. I don't want to say that it's definitely not guaranteed that he's out after 2 years, but I think you want to try to do something in the next 2 years just because for sure have Burns for 2 years. So I wonder if they maybe push the pedal a little bit. And they just lost Christian Walker. So that's
Naylor's a
kind of a big one.
decent, is a pretty solid
I
replacement.
actually really like that replacement. I think, and I was surprised that Cleveland moved on because Cleveland is kind of like changing a lot for a team that and not to say in a bad way because I actually think they're making a lot of lateral moves, but for a team that got to where they did last year in the playoffs, the great season that they had, I'm just surprised. I mean, Naylor's gone. They traded Jimenez. Who else? Didn't they
They
got
have
rid of
Carlos Santana, who's back at first, and they got Luis Ortiz from the Pirates.
Yeah, which that's a good trade for them. Luis
And
Ortiz
they've
is
re-signed Shane
good.
Bieber, who won't be back till like halfway or later in the season.
I thought
To me, that's
a
a good signing for them.
I thought they lost somebody else in the field between Naylor and Jimenez.
You said they lost Jimenez.
Trying to think. Who they have that's short? They had Rocchio short, right? He's still
It's
there.
still Rocchio, Ramirez, Quan Thomas, Brennan, Manzardo.
Okay, maybe it was just those two. Because I think the whole thing was they thought, a lot of fans thought, all right, Naylor's gone, so Manzardo will finally get his shot at, being the starter with anything else. But yeah, he's not getting that shot, which is surprising. But Carlos Santana said he wanted to come home, and that's what happened. So
It's interesting that you bring up that division of Cleveland. What do the Twins need to do in order to bounce
Everything.
back?
spend money,
Chemistry,
spend money, don't
team building.
Yeah.
All right, let's rephrase that statement. Do the Twins need to blow it up?
No, I mean
They don't really have anything. I don't know how
they
would
don't
blow
have
it up.
anything to blow up. I
Yeah,
mean,
they could trade their closer.
they
That's about it.
You trade Byron Buxton?
I mean, he's
I don't know if anyone would want him anymore because this was a conversation that I think was kind of tossed around a couple years ago, and then they extended him to like 5 years or something. So it was like, well, that's that, and Byron Buxton's still doing Buxton things, which means he's playing a little and then getting hurt, and then hits for power and then gets hurt, and some of the fastest wheels in baseball have to basically put it on hold.
damn, he's 31 now. That's crazy.
Because this has
That's
been his
crazy.
entire career has been this debate. He's been a great guy who could not stay healthy.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of insane.
And the team literally has done nothing.
I mean, they have him under contract until 2028 too. So
yeah, I thought it was like 3 more years or something. I guess that's 4.
Yeah, it's 14.2 a year for the next few years. I don't know. I think for the
he should go to the Angels and be the outfield partner with Mike Trout.
Yeah, interesting.
Who can stay healthy?
Which one is gonna play center?
I think
Buxton.
the Twins conversation goes to like a bigger conversation that I've been kind of wanting to get into, which is teams are very reluctant to spend money year after year. And of course it's my Pirates is what I'm kind of referring to. But the Twins are another one of those teams. They just don't want to spend money. I know, again, we can talk about small market, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But
they're not a small market team though.
But I'm just talking market size in general. But they're another team that just refuses to spend money. They didn't do it last year. They haven't done it this year yet. So
they're estimated to be 151 right now for their luxury tax for next year.
I mean, they have pieces. I do believe they ran that division for a while, and which is crazy because in 1 year's time they went from the king of that division, no questions asked. They're the fourth best team in that division now.
If
They-
the
that's
White
'cause I
Sox
can't
weren't
be
in the
fifth.
division, then they would be the joke.
They can't be fifth. That's right. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's going to get steeper because the Tigers are young, the Royals are young, the Guardians are always good. Like those teams are going to continue to get better, and if the Twins don't start doing something, they're going to be in like that mediocre hell that they've kind of already been in for a while. But
I was
now
about to say, I
they
think that's
they
where they're already at.
they can't get away with it now, though. They can't get away with it. And I just don't think they'll spend money. And like other teams are doing this, and this is what drives me freaking crazy about baseball. Is you can have teams that spend $4 billion a year, and then you have got like owners that are pinching pennies. It drives me up a wall. I know it.
Greed for the fans.
I know it's not. I know it's not baseball exclusive, but it feels so amplified in baseball. Like it just is. Excuse me. Like the Pirates, right? It was inevitably going to come to this.
103.
The Pirates could, and I actually don't like that they got rid of Luis Ortiz. I'm glad that they are trying to get, I guess, some offense. Although I
They're
don't
too
know
harsh
if
on Horowitz.
I don't know if Spencer Horowitz is the answer. Maybe he
They're
is.
too
but,
harsh.
But Luis Ortiz is a great arm, and I think he'll do great with Cleveland. But the only signing they've made outside of that is re-signing Andrew McCutchen. The Pirates
Clutching.
the
Pirates legend.
Pirates potentially could have a top 10 starting rotation in baseball next year. And they did nothing to address the biggest problem on the team, which was offense. They've done nothing, and everybody's gone
they're
now.
still out there.
They're not signing Santander there. I would love it. I would love it a lot, but they're so.
Don't
I see a
punish him
little
like
spot
that.
right there that he would fit right there.
Don't punish Tony like that.
This is the Pirates.
Tony
bullshit.
Taters decides where Tony Taters goes.
This is the Pirates bullshit every year, and this is why you get so excited because you see Paul Skeens like the future of baseball, blah blah blah, this and that. But
he'll be in Boston or New York in 5 years. Don't worry.
But they don't.
Not New York. He has to shave the stash. Be all acne.
Oh, that's right. That's right. L.A.
All acne. Jesus Christ, that's messed up. They
Hey, Livy Dunn needs to go to L.A., baby.
They're so like they won't spend money. They'll go and get a guy like Spencer Horowitz. Again, he could be the answer, but they're Bob Nutting will not spend on getting. And I feel bad for Sherrington, the GM, because I think he's put in a pretty bad spot. He gets a lot of shit because he's ultimately the guy that doesn't make the moves as the GM, but he's not giving the money to do so. And all these teams in the MLB are going to be mediocre, and the gap between them and the Dodgers and the Phillies and the Yankees and the Red Sox is going to continue to grow even more than it already is because they're not spending money as players are getting more expensive, and it's infuriating, man. It is like I want to get so excited about the Pirates, but all their guys, they basically have to draft the perfect players, have them all come up and be stars at the perfect time for them to have a chance because they won't go and sign a guy to fill a need, that is like a star or even like a serviceable player. They won't even spend for average players. Like they wouldn't even consider, not that Anthony Santander there's an average player, but they wouldn't even consider signing a guy like that. He's not a superstar, but he's not cheap where they can
He's
get
not
him
old enough for them to be able to afford.
He's not a guy that they can sign in February for $4 million. That's the problem. That's the issue. And it's so dumb, man.
Let's
so
see
dumb.
who they can sign for $4 million.
Like they
get Jose Abreu for league minimum because the Astros still owe him money.
Yeah, that's that's who we need to replace. Rowdy Tellez at first base with Jose Abreu. Cool. Like again, their pitching is going to be great this year. But I don't get it, man. I really don't. And like that, so I mean, IKF will be around again this year, but they traded for Brian De La Cruz, which God, that was a nothing, and he's gone. So like, we're back to the same spot we were in April of last year, and it's like, you're wasting the talent that you have right now. Because look, Brian Reynolds is already kind of getting older, and O'Neal Cruz, you want to catch him while he's on his prime and stuff like that. It's just It is frustrating, man. It really is. And again, you got the teams like the Twins that are like that.
Mariners
The,
haven't done anything
I was
either.
gonna say the Mariners, like the Mariners have no questions asked a top 5 rotation in the league, and they're in the. I mean, they're in the same boat, but I think it's amplified because they've been on the cusp of the playoffs and stuff like that. Like they're a bat or two
They
away
had the
from being a
division last
contender.
year. It was in their hands for like 2/3 of the season, and then they just
Yeah,
let it
like
go.
I don't know. I mean, what do you guys kind of think on that? Because I don't think it's ever going to change, but like,
I'm starting to think the rumor that right-handed hitters do not like hitting in that ballpark is legit
yeah,
because that would be the main thing that I would think of. Because yeah, when you have a pitching staff like that, I'd feel like you'd feel really good from an offensive standpoint, being like, we score a couple runs and we're good to go. Um, I mean, they're mid-market team, so it's not like they obviously have all the money in the world, but they still have a lot of wiggle room. You would think that they could still play around with, and so they've now having struck out on everyone so far but Alonso and Bregman, and I don't think anyone's honestly considering Alonso or Bregman for that matter going to them. It's their issues are going to be solved by signing an older player, probably like Anthony Rizzo, to maybe play first, and then you trade to fill up your holes in the infield at third and second. I know they got some internal ways they can solve that, but none of them
but
look good to me at
that's
all.
again the problem though, because that's what these teams rely on, and it's like the Pirates have prospects, right? Like,
Mariners have been more historically of it. They rely on
yeah,
trades.
yeah,
So
you know,
they have, and I mean, they have the starter. So in a way, they do have the arsenal that they can pull from if the right trade presents itself. But, you know,
yeah. I mean, again, I'm a Pirates fan and I'm pulling my hair up, but Mariners fans, it's got to be like look how good that staff was last year, and like they're refusing to make moves. And I actually think when we talked about them at the beginning of the offseason, I was like, they're literally going to be the Yankees 2.0. They're going to get Rizzo and they're going to get Glaber. Now Glaber goes to the Tigers. Interesting move.
I love that infield look of Baez and Torres.
Yeah,
That just looks so good to me.
it is something. I
It
don't know.
sounds like quite the law firm.
Yes, Baez and Torres. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's these teams, like, I wish there was a way to punish owners that refuse to spend money. Like,
Hey, that's what the luxury tax is set up as, because look what the A's are doing. They're
That's
trying to not get
how it
punished.
actually works, though.
It does after 3
You know what
years.
astonished me? Hold on. To caveat off of that, he's not willing to spend money to better his team. He's willing to spend money so he doesn't have to pay more money.
yeah.
Think about that for a second. If you're an A's
I'm
fan,
spending money so I don't
are you
have
kidding
to
me?
spend more money.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
And how much more money do they have to go? Like, they
They
still
need
have
to be over 100 million. They right now luxury tax wise are at 90. I think I saw estimated.
Okay.
So they're not that far off.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm waiting for them to make a stupid deal of like, we're gonna sign this veteran for like 20 million. You're like, why in the world would you ever do that? It's
Well, that's
The
we
A's
need to
trade
put
for
money
Jordan
somewhere.
Montgomery.
There you go. There's your shot.
Hey, I keep saying I want the Phillies to dump Taiwan Walker onto the A's for a bag of money. Heck, we'll pay for like
For a bag of money.
give them as sellouts for like a third of their games this year, just so that.
Yeah, we'll send fans to you so
Taiwan Walker
so your stadium fills out. And you
It might actually fill out since it's a minor league park.
Well, I mean, so like,
But how many fans are there going to be in Sacramento?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's not that far of a drive from Oakland, right?
Oh, I'm sure
Yeah,
it
sure.
is.
It's probably
and
what, like 9 hours.
and I'm sure Oakland is like, you took our team away, so we're not going to Sacramento. Screw you.
Sorry, Google
I'm
Maps,
sure there are a
don't get me
few
wrong.
A's fans that live in Sacramento.
Yeah. Look, I think that it's funny because, Luis Severino is a okay signing, but this is
Oh, I
what I
lied.
was
It's an hour and 20 minutes.
this is what I was talking about though, when you were like, yeah, they'll sign a guy for like 1 year for 20 million. Like Luis Severino, I mean, it's an okay signing, but it's like weird kind of like the money that they paid him and it was just so random. And then we
Yep.
found out. Oh yeah, no, they actually have to pay money. So I don't know, man.
So they get a player that had a had a good bounce back year. Was probably nowhere really worth 20 million, and gave him, well, 2 guaranteed years, and he gets an opt out. So in
Yeah,
other words, it's whether his career tanks after what he did last year and he decides to stay for the third year, because if he leaves, he's going to be playing nowhere. But
What do
yeah.
you think Billy Bean told their owner? Listen, we're gonna
did
get
you
fined.
see my movie?
We're going to get fined if we don't spend money. You need to spend money. Okay,
Can that be
okay,
the sequel?
fine. We're going to have to spend money on one player just so we don't get fined.
I don't know, man. They're weird, and like they actually, I feel like they have potential. Like if they did use their money wisely, like they could actually have like an average team where they're not in the basement of the AL West, but
They
What
weren't
money?
last year.
they weren't last year.
They were on
Speaking
the
of,
basement stairs, but they
what do
weren't in the
you
basement yet.
what do you guys think of the Angels? Like it seems like they're trying, and there are a lot of these.
They're always trying. They just don't do it right.
They don't do it
Art
right.
Moreno is the worst owner in baseball.
It is just funny though because
Or Gene Autry is rolling over in his grave.
because you see like they're also another team, like I think they're in on it. That's what it was. Santander, like they're rumored to be in on. I think was it the Tigers or the other team? I
The
forget.
Tigers supposedly are interested, but the Blue Jays were main team. One,
I hope that if the Orioles don't sign him, the Tigers do, because then you could have Tony the Tiger.
You
That's
know,
good.
I'm for that, though. Bregman's the one I've heard more for the.
Which if
Tigers.
I want that to
If
happen just because I
You
called
made that prediction.
Would
If
you
it
would you
happens,
get a Tigers jersey then?
if
Bregman
they sign
jersey.
Bregman, no, I can't get a Bregman jersey. Come on, it's like putting
Just-
a bullseye
Get it
on
from
my
like
back.
the third
Buddy,
hand store.
buddy,
It's a jersey
you're a
that'll
Pirates
fall apart
fan.
after
You
the
can
third
get
wash.
any jersey you want.
I
It's
can't.
okay.
I can't sign any. I can't get a jersey of any Astro trash can players. Like I can't. I can never get an Altuve jersey. I can never get a George Springer jersey, a Bregman jersey. It's
You can. It's just let your morals go.
yeah, exactly. I mean, as much as I would love to see Bregman and Tigers, just for my selfish sake, I
How about I
couldn't
get you a
it
Ty Cobb jersey if you're worried about morals?
That'll do it.
He takes the jersey and he just punches you in the face. Boom.
Yeah, he was a violent guy, but he did help out a lot of retired ball players. So.
I don't even know where to go from that. That's
Maybe
crazy.
that's a good spot to end it.
listen. Ty Cobb was a guy who, when players were down on their luck and were like suffering from like alcoholism or like spending all their money post playing career and had no money left, he would give them like as he would give them the shirt off his back. It doesn't fit because of who we know he was as a ball player, but like it just goes to show you not everyone's black and white, you know?
You could say that. There's a lot of things you could say about the old timey baseball players that don't really hold up to these days standards. But
Which now brings it up that John Travers is going to do it. An old timey episode.
Oh yes. Our idea for old time. What was the? I mean, I don't want to spoil it, I guess, because we were.
No, don't spoil
We've
it.
already
Don't
been
spoil
using it as like a segment before.
No.
I
We
was
only
gonna
used it once.
No.
That was
I
twice.
was gonna bring up the actual thing that we found that we were gonna talk about because it was.
I don't remember. I mean, I kind of remember, but I don't see it.
It was. Okay. Well,
See,
all right.
there we go.
I thought for a second I didn't even realize that filter was
It
on.
did involve the Pirates.
It did.
It was the first walk-off home run in World Series history to win.
You so like as you were starting to talk old timey, you like your voice started to go in that direction, and then you pulled back your old timey voice. Like you were just sliding into that character.
Yeah, well, baseball historian over here. There we go. There's the series, baseball historian.
He's gonna be the new guy that reads you baseball facts in your baseball video game in 15 years.
Only baseball historian because you don't know what the hell is going on current day in baseball, but he'll tell you about the history of baseball.
Listen, back in 1975.
It could work. I don't really have anything else to add to this.
Let's wrap it up.
We'll wrap it up.
We've been at it for almost an hour.
No way, producer. Where are we at?
We've been shooting the shit.
We're at 45 minutes.
Oh,
46
Damn
minutes.
it.
I thought
We got 15 minutes to go. Come
no,
on, boys.
No.
Damn it, I thought it
come
was
on.
9:07 we started.
I thought we were only
That's
at like
probably
a
a screw up.
I thought we were only at like a half hour. Okay, yeah, we're wrapping this up.
I mean, we may have tried to start at 9:07. Let's be honest. It took Tyler like 15 minutes to get the intro right.
I wasn't the one that messed it up this time. It was Roberto.
Yeah, it's still your fault.
You still messed it up.
We can
I
edit
hope
in
you
post.
guys enjoyed. Excuse me. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of us just talking ball. Anything that really came to mind. We might do this again in the future.
Yeah, the new
But,
name of the podcast. When we decide BLB doesn't work out, we need to come up with a new name.
well,
That's not a bad name.
it's
Trademark it. Producer.
Talking baseball is already a big time
already
baseball.
Hey, it
it's
sounds like
already
Bobby
a
again.
thing.
What happened to
Wait.
that cold?
We already there's already a pretty big baseball company that has that trademark. Don't you worry. But
Fucking ball.
that is all for us here at Big League Breakdowns. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at BL_breakdowns, Big League Breakdowns everywhere else. And as we continue on this long and cold and damp off season, we still got a little bit until pitchers and catchers report, but we're making it through. We'll be making some more videos this off season. Stick with us, and we'll see you next time.
Wear your seatbelt so you make it to spring training.
Bye-bye.